having a great Thursday afternoon. We begin today with a major development in the state's initiative to provide universal access to preschool.
Yeah, Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke announced today that the Department of Human Services is expanding its Preschool Open Doors program to include eligible 3-year-olds, and more families will now qualify for the program because the income eligibility limits are being increased.
Thanks to the legislative partners, we were able to increase the Preschool Open Doors, what is known as Preschool Open Doors, from a $12 million annual subsidy amount to $50 million.
Currently, POD serves more than 740 students statewide. However, by expanding the program to 3-year-olds and expanding the income eligibility, we can support more of our working families at the moderate to middle income level, either decreasing or completely eliminating their copay. This means that families who were previously ineligible for child care subsidies due to their income level may now be eligible for more support for child care for their families. We've also increased the subsidy payments, so now families can receive between $1,200 to $1,500 a month per child for the 2024 to 2025 Preschool Open Doors program year.
Applications are now open and must be received by March 28th to be considered for the program period from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. You can apply online at patchhawaii.org. After launching in January of last year, the Ready Keiki initiative also has opened 13 preschool classrooms across the islands.
Meanwhile, on Maui, a Lahaina preschool is reopening after extensive repairs following the August fires. The Maui Economic Opportunities Head Start site will welcome students back today. Next to Princess Nahi'enaena Elementary, there are still openings for students, and they're also hiring teachers. In news out of the courts, former death row inmate Isaiah McCoy is now facing 20 new federal sex crime charges. Prosecutors accuse him of trafficking 4 women and an underage girl by using force, fraud, or coercion over several years starting in 2019. He already beat federal trafficking charges in 2018. A judge dismissed that case with prejudice when it was discovered that evidence was withheld from his defense.
That case is done and you can't bring it back. There's double jeopardy. So these charges all are for events that started in 2019 and allegedly carried up to 2023.
What it appears happened in this case is that they continued to monitor his activities and he continued to engage in the same type of activities. So they have brought new charges against him.
This federal trial is set for April, and McCoy wants to represent himself yet again.
The ex-con who claims he was Mike Miskie's right-hand man testified that Miskie gave orders to have people assaulted or killed. Wayne Miller said he would place tracking devices on vehicles to follow and attack people who Miskie had disputes with over money or personal matters. He said the businessman once offered him $200,000 to kill a longtime girlfriend who had left town for an extended period of time. But Miller says he and his associates denied the request. Miller's testimony continues today.
A warning, the details in this next story are very graphic. A Pennsylvania man is accused of murdering his father and then making a disturbing video with a decapitated head. CNN's Danny Freeman has this story.
We can't show you the video posted by 32-year-old Justin Moan Tuesday afternoon. It's too graphic and too horrific, but it's a crucial part of an investigation into the murder of his father, 68-year-old Michael Moan.
It's a horrible, tragic incident.
This all began around 7 p.m. Tuesday evening when Middletown Township Police got a call from Justin's mother saying she'd found her husband dead. When officers arrived in this quiet suburban neighborhood, they found a gruesome scene. According to a criminal complaint obtained by CNN, there was an elderly male in a bathroom with blood around him who had been decapitated. Officers found a machete and a large kitchen knife in the bathtub. Court documents said officers then found Michael Moan's head in a plastic bag in a cooking pot in the next room. Only then did police learn of his son's video posted to YouTube. In the 14.5-minute video, Justin Moan rants about the Biden administration, the border, and calls his father a traitor to his country because he was a federal employee. Justin then raised his dead father's head on camera.
I am very sad for the family. I'm very sad for the community, and also for the people that knew him.
While police were at his home, though, Moan was heading west. A spokesperson for the Pennsylvania Department of Military and Veterans Affairs told CNN at around 9 p.m. Moan's cell phone was traced to just outside of the Fort Indiantown Gap National Guard Base, Pennsylvania's National Guard headquarters, nearly 100 miles from the crime scene. When police arrived, they found Moan's car empty outside the fence of the base. But when they traced him again at 9:25, Moan's phone was on the base. The PA-DMVA said Moan was ultimately captured without incident near the base's center.
The resolution from the commission of the crime to when he was taken into custody was rather quickly, and that kind of allays the community's fears that, there's not an immediate threat to them.
Moan was arraigned early Wednesday morning and charged with his father's murder and abuse of a body.
We now know the possible sites to permanently hold all of the Maui wildfire debris. Officials revealed their top 3 picks last night at a public meeting at Lahaina Civic Center. The number 1 option, an undeveloped parcel of land in Wahikuli. It's already near Olowalu, which is being used temporarily, but it's also the site of already proposed housing, and it's near a residential area that is next to the coastline. Option 2, Crater Village in West Maui, another undeveloped area near Olowalu, but one that's away from communities. The problem with this site is it sits above an aquifer line. And option 3, the Central Maui landfill. It's another undeveloped plot of land away from homes and below the aquifer line, but the disadvantage is it's about 20 miles away from Olowalu and will impact traffic when transferring the debris.
In the end, we all have to make a collective sacrifice in dealing with this tragedy, and so we just ask, everyone to be understanding that there will be a temporary inconvenience.
The county plans to choose a permanent site by March 1st. Look for a link to a survey on those 3 options at hawaiinewsnow.com.
From the U.S. Congress to the Hawaii State Capitol, lawmakers are racing to come up with new rules for artificial intelligence. Now, here in the islands, there's a push to force political campaigns to tell voters when they use fake imagery. Eddie Dowd has more.
Carson is in the sunken place.
The video shows President Obama, but it's actually deepfake technology, changing the movement of his lips to match actor Jordan Peele's impersonated voiceover.
One man with total control of billions of people's stolen data.
And that's not Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg. Now, similar technology is being used to victimize Taylor Swift. Over the weekend, sexually explicit AI images of the pop star surfacing online. X, formerly known as Twitter, quickly shut down searches for the X-rated content. Hawaii lawmakers want to keep AI images out of politics.
It's already here.
State Representative Trish LaChica is introducing legislation to require campaigns to label any use of AI starting 90 days before any primary or general election.
So as a young freshman representative, I see AI being used and spread like wildfire, and a lot of these are fraudulent. So you could easily be scrolling through Facebook, and then you could see a candidate, that's running for office, either, let's say, for example, condoning police brutality or saying something or being somewhere where they really weren't.
A dozen states, including California, Michigan, and Minnesota, already have laws restricting AI.
In an election here in Hawaii, some of these elections win by very slim margins, and that could easily tank somebody's election.
UH Communications professor Wayne Benty says the concerns are real.
It does look very convincing, but that this is the state of technology at this time. The challenge is that this technology is moving far faster than the laws and policies that we can place to kind of put the brakes on or guardrails.
Professor Benty says as AI develops, the best antidote may not be new laws, but public vigilance.
I think in the end, at this time, it really does put the onus on people themselves to do their best to use trusted third-party fact checkers, check the sources of what they're seeing online, how they're being generated or where they're coming from, and really do your homework on the content that you're seeing.
Eddie Dowd, Hawaii News Now.
President Joe Biden has issued sanctions against 4 Israeli nationals for alleged acts of violence in the West Bank. The action comes under a new executive order Thursday targeting those responsible for violence in the wake of the Israeli invasion of Gaza. The State Department says ultimately dozens of people and their relatives could be impacted by the directive. While this order isn't expected to fully address the tense situation in Gaza, it does come as some Muslims and Arab Americans are upset that the Biden White House hasn't called for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. The war between the two started after the attack on October 7th. Since then, more than 26,000 people have been killed, according to the Hamas-controlled health ministry in the region.
President Biden is traveling to the key swing state of Michigan today, and he has a lot of work to do. Polls show that former President Donald Trump has the advantage over Mr. Biden after Trump lost the state back in 2020. Skylar Henry has more.
President Biden arrived in a critical battleground state. Days after a valuable endorsement from the United Auto Workers, Biden met with union members in Detroit. Competing for the working class vote, former President Donald Trump met with the Teamsters on Wednesday. But the powerful labor union has not yet announced an endorsement.
Stranger things have happened. Usually a Republican wouldn't get that endorsement. For many, many years, they only do Democrats, but in my case, it's different.
Trump supporters are turning their attention to the upcoming South Carolina primary and the matchup with the last candidate fighting him for the Republican nomination.
It's a great day in South Carolina.
After losing in Iowa and New Hampshire, Nikki Haley is pinning her hopes on her home state, focusing on her achievements as South Carolina's governor.
We made South Carolina proud. It is time that we make America proud. And more than that, it is time that we make America normal again.
Even as she sharpens her attacks on Donald Trump, Haley faces an uphill battle.
Donald Trump, I think, is the clear favorite to win this state, in part because the Republican base is still very much in his camp, and they're the individuals that typically turn out to vote in a primary.
With a little more than 3 weeks to go until that primary, a recent poll shows the former president with a double-digit lead. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
A new rule is once again casting Florida in an anti-trans light, as they are no longer allowing transgender individuals to change the sex on their state driver's license. Ari Ozer spoke to a trans woman who is frustrated by the change.
Lila is 19, a trans woman born and raised in Florida, but she's in the midst of her transition. So to get a new driver's license reflecting her new name and gender identity, Lila says she'd have to go to a different state.
Frustration. It makes me feel frustrated that the place that I was raised no longer accepts people like me.
The director of Florida's Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles sent this letter to county tax collectors all over the state last week. He said gender is a synonym for sex at birth, and since driver's licenses are used for ID, permitting an individual to alter his or her license to reflect an internal sense of gender role or identity, which is neither immutable or objectively verifiable, undermines the purpose of an identification record and can frustrate the state's ability to enforce its laws. The trans community sees it as yet another assault on their rights.
All the laws they're passing, they're further restricting the way trans people can present in society. They want to erase us legally, restrict what we can do, and basically turn us into second-class citizens. And I can't live like that. Here I am, the big bad trans person. Do you really think that I pose a threat to society? Like, is this culture war really worth it?
Since 2018, trans people have been able to get their driver's licenses changed in Florida if they had a letter from a doctor attesting to their gender change. That policy is officially rescinded. Lila says she will continue her studies in college and then move to a trans-friendly state when she graduates.
I would rather die standing than live kneeling, so I'm going to continue as I am.
A seismic shift at Kilauea continues. The USGS raised the volcano's alert level to a watch yesterday after scientists recorded 1,400 earthquakes there from Saturday to Wednesday. This is what the crater looked like yesterday afternoon, rainy and steamy, but no lava. The USGS reports rockfalls in Halema'uma'u and said the activity was, quote, heightened and dynamic. And because the summit is pressurized, an eruption could start with little warning.
Now here is a live look at Halema'uma'u crater right now on this Aloha Thursday. We're going to have your full forecast after a quick break. We got some first alert weather days we need to tell you about.
How's it on this Thursday? We got some clouds and a few showers from an old front, but another front is going to develop over the islands by tomorrow. We're expecting scattered showers tomorrow and strong winds by the evening time. So tomorrow is a first alert weather day, but today things will be mellow. Like I said, it's a little cloudy, a little damp, especially for Kauai and Oahu, but we're not expecting a washout today, and the winds will run fairly slow. Because of that, it might be a little bit sticky, and there's a chance for some afternoon cloud buildups. Otherwise, again, today's pretty mellow. We're not going to see anything in the way of severe weather today, with the winds running light and the rainfall being minimal, mainly for Kauai and Oahu this morning. And as far as the surf, it's on the way down for today, but by tonight, we're expecting a big north-northeast swell, and it could again trigger high surf alerts. But for today, the high surf alerts have been tossed out. Swells on the way down, and with the light winds, conditions could be pretty good this morning for north and west shores. So again, today, the weather's going to be calm. We are expecting a fair bit of sunshine for those leeward areas, especially with some afternoon cloud buildups. But as a front moves in tomorrow, we'll see more clouds, more showers, and stronger winds by the evening time. Those winds are of concern for Saturday and Sunday. We could get wind gusts upwards of 50 miles an hour for some areas, some leeward areas across the state. So batten down the hatches and be prepared for that. And then on Monday, the winds will still remain breezy, but they'll back off a little bit, and we'll see a few scattered showers into the middle of next week.
Parts of the West Coast are facing severe weather and damages from an atmospheric river. Elise Preston is north of San Francisco.
Overnight here in Sonoma County, crews trudged through this flooded road to rescue a driver from a vehicle stuck in deep water. 3 inches of heavy rain fell, just one of many areas socked in Northern California. In Sacramento, police blame slick roads and high-speed driving for sending this truck off the highway. No one was injured. The strongest storm of the winter season in the San Francisco Bay Area so far also brought wind gusts close to 60 miles per hour. In its wake, downing trees and knocking out power to thousands. Fire crews in Silicon Valley cut through this tree to rescue a trapped child. She was transported to a hospital and is expected to be okay. This same atmospheric river event is now slamming Southern California too. In San Clemente, concerns are growing over a worsening landslide. Crews worked quickly to tarp this hillside. In San Diego, residents hope these sandbags protect their homes and businesses as the storm grows stronger. Today, the city is under a voluntary evacuation order for low-lying areas.
It is designed to encourage residents in these flood-prone communities to prepare if and when evacuation does become necessary.
Not only will this storm continue to bring flooding rain and gusty wind, we're also looking at a second storm system moving in this weekend. That storm is expected to be even worse. Elise Preston, CBS News, Sonoma County, California.
In our Journey to China series, Stephanie Lum heads south to visit some historic sites, including one that was featured in a Disney movie.
I feel right now we're on a wild roller coaster ride. This is kind of normal for the people in China because they want to get to where they want to go.
There are many ways to get around China. One of the fastest ways to travel is by bullet train. This bullet train is going more than 180 miles an hour, but it's not as fast as the Shanghai Maglev. That train can travel at lightning speeds of more than 260 miles per hour, making it the fastest train in China and the world. More than 2,800 bullet trains connect nearly 600 cities in China.
This is nice. This is nice. There's no way we're going to go as fast as in Hawaii as we are here. So this is a treat for me.
We took the ferry to our next destination. In Putian City, the more than 1,000-year-old Mazu Temple honors the Chinese goddess of the sea. It's one of tens of thousands of Buddhist temples in China, like this one in Fuzhou, built in the 8th century during the Tang Dynasty.
Built from almost 2,000 years ago, is the king of the first king in Fujian. Yeah, his religion is Buddha. Yeah, so that's why he built this one.
Yongquan Temple in Fujian is known as the invisible temple in the mountains and the invisible mountains in the temple because of its architectural layout. During certain periods, this area is covered in mist and clouds. One of the most visited sites in China is the world-famous Tulou.
Every family must contribute one man to fight.
You may have seen the Tulou in the Disney movie Mulan. These ancient structures, built by the earliest Han settlers, the Hakka people, were first discovered by the U.S. government in satellite images and thought to be nuclear missile silos. This one in Zhangzhou and 27 others are now protected World Heritage Sites.
And take a look at these walls. It is a rock solid and hard. Would you believe it was made out of mud, cooked sticky rice, water, and lime?
That's why they're also called earth buildings, an architectural wonder.
And this is what the Tulou looks like inside. It stands 5 stories tall. It truly is amazing to see that this structure, built 700 years ago, is still standing strong today.
About 80 Hakka families once lived here. Today, 5 remain. The young have left for a better education. The elderly stayed behind and try to make a living off of tourism. My mother's ancestors are Hakka and immigrated to Kula, Maui.
And they were of the background of the Hakka people.
This is your great-grandparents?
Yes. Hakka people are hard workers. and fortitude. And so it kind of goes with what my parents taught me. You don't always have to have the best, but you work your way up. Then you have the appreciation and the richness of what we now today have.
Time for some good news. Capybaras from 5 zoos in Japan competed this weekend to see who bathes the longest. Yep. So the event took place at the Izu Shaboten Zoo in central Japan. Zookeepers recorded the times each contestant entered the hot bath and then left it. The winner was a 10-year-old male capybara from Nagasaki Biopark in southwestern Japan. He stayed in the hot bath for 2 hours, 53 minutes, and 57 seconds.
I could probably give him a run for his money. Just saying. That looks so relaxing. Let's end today with a live look outside. Remember, First Alert Weather Day coming up Friday and Saturday. Have a great day, everyone.